Hi guys, welcome back aboard good old Athena for a tiny bit of DIY in the very end of this video, a look at the upcoming projects in 2020, and also a whole heap of tidying up. This is a pre-recorded video. By the time this video goes live, Ava and I are probably out for a morning hike in sunny, although slightly chilly Los Angeles, because after all, it's also winter there. I leave tomorrow night, but before I leave, I would love to get Athena tidied up, because whenever I come back from having spent time with Ava, life is always just a little bit more sucky because I miss Ava, it's really cold here, and I'm jet lagged, and I don't want to deal with a messy Athena on top of all of that. Yep, feast your eyes on Mount Trash. The aft cabin is, well, certainly a strong contender for messiest boat ever. The trash has even started migrating into the head. There is a disorganized pile of tools strewn everywhere, and also the forward cabin is not looking that hot. It's gonna be at least 4 trips to the recycling center before I've got this place under control, so let's engage turbo mode. Phew, I am glad that is out of the way. It might not have looked like it on the time-lapse, but that was about half a day's worth of stupid tidying up. I've got a little bit of paint here I need to drop off at the workshop, but other than that, the boat is pretty tidy. You can actually see the bunk in here in the aft cabin again. The settee is all nice and tidied up. All of the tools have congregated in one corner, so yeah, I am happy. A nice and somewhat tidy boat is certainly going to make getting back to work in January here aboard Athena a lot easier. And speaking of January, that's an excellent segue into the plan for 2020 here aboard Athena. As you can no doubt tell by the state of things here aboard Athena, I still have a lot of work ahead of me, and Ava and I do plan to untie the lines in a year and a half, so I think the next year and a half is going to be pretty action-packed. But as soon as I get back from LA, the gimbaled box for the induction cooktop and the electric oven that's going to go here in the galley should be ready, and that means the first thing I can do is to, well, finish the galley. Finally, that's something I've been looking forward to for a while now. I'm most likely going to work on putting together the galley while at the same time getting started on the generator that's going to live here in the technical compartment. But the thing is, to make the generator, I am going to rely on a little bit of assistance from Cement Boat Guy, and sadly, he is not at my beck and call every minute of every day, so there might be a little bit of going back and forth between those two projects. While we're in here in the head, by the time I get back from Los Angeles, the new head should also have shown up, meaning I can finally go ahead and get this area all figured out. You know what? Let's just tidy up my little board here and use that to visualize all of the stuff on my to-do list in 2020. Oh, build new rudder? Well, that's done. Paint and mount the Dodger. Well, we'll create a new one, but the Dodger is all ready to be mounted. I just want to be done dragging big pieces of plywood in and out of the boat so I don't ding it up. Still need to make some new cleats. The steering pedestal is also still ongoing. Here are the tasks I've already mentioned. There's the gimbaled box from the galley. There's the galley itself. There's the generator and also the head. One of the other projects I've very much been looking forward to, but where I'm also a little bit dependent on some help from the Honorable Mr. Cement Boat Guy, is Athena's new heating system, which is going to be waterborne, so I need to make a boiler. On the list it goes. These tasks, plus possibly getting started on rewiring the AC and DC here aboard the boat, should see me into the early spring, and that's when things are really gonna start picking up. Or at least I hope so. I've got a big project planned for the early spring, early summer, and that is the tow rail. That's also the last of the major exterior things I need to do. So yeah, that is the absolute top priority for the summer 2020. Without going into too much detail, here is what Athena's deck hull joint looks like today. Up here is the deck, the blue stuff is the core in the deck, and then down here is the hull. But as I found out earlier, there's absolutely no bedding compound, no sealant, no adhesive, no nothing in between these two pieces of laminate. That means if I bolt on a traditional tow rail and that starts leaking, then water is gonna get in here and it is gonna drip out all of the holes on the inside of the boat. Or if I seal up these holes, then there's gonna be water trapped in here, which is not great either. So I'm proposing a big project that is gonna make Athena a lot more watertight. This is what my current plan looks like. It's very much subject to change, but this blue stuff here is a foam core. All of the red is there to symbolize layers of fiberglass laid up. And with this in place, Athena is going to be fully sealed up in the deck hull joint. There is no way water is going to get in here unless I get some kind of major delamination, which at that point I've got other bigger issues. This is of course going to be a somewhat time-consuming job. I'm going to have to lay up a lot of laminate. There's going to be a lot of shaping foam and fiddling about to make sure that the foam looks nice with the curvature of the hull. There's going to be a lot of fairing from somewhere down here and all the way to here. And then of course everything has to get painted also. I don't have to paint the entire top sides, but I do need to paint to where I've faired. Fortunately, Athena has these two blue stripes on her top sides, and I was planning on repainting those anyways, and I don't think I need to extend down any further than the bottom blue stripe there, so I don't have to repaint all of the hull, which is gonna be a big help. I was planning on removing some of the port lights in the hull. At the very least, I want to get rid of the one in the technical compartment because I don't want that to start leaking with all of the electronics in there. So I would have to mess around with that blue stripe anyways. Patching up a couple of holes from some old port lights is not really a big job, so that doesn't get mentioned on the board here. But the tow rail, that is a ginormous task, so yep. That goes on the board. I expect this to take 2 to 3 months, possibly with the help of Ava, which would be awesome. And then after the tow rail, it's on to the second priority for the summer. If everything goes according to plan, next summer is going to be my last full summer with Athena here in Denmark. So of course, we need some deck hardware. And the deck should also be Kiwi gripped. By deck hardware, I of course mean stuff like winches, granny bars, tracks, stuff like that. There are also some other tasks that would be really nice to get out of the way while the weather is still good, and that is to install the new rudder I made last winter, and to fit through hulls, and to activate the copper coat. After those are done, Athena could theoretically go back in the water. There are some things that are going to be a lot easier to do with Athena back in the water, like for instance getting the generator aboard the boat, rather than trying to haul it up a ladder, which would be absolutely suicide. It's easier just to drop it in with the mast crane over in the marina, or also the washer dryer that's going to go in here. It's going to be a lot easier to get into the boat with that crane. I am sure by the time I'm done with all of these tasks, we are going to be into the early fall at the very least. Now, before it gets too cold, I would love to move this piece of plywood a little bit further out, about this much, so it sits flush with the entrance into the forward cabin. In the old layout, there was a shower and a head in here. I'm guessing that's why this has this little bit of a bulge out here. In the new layout, this is just going to be storage, and here is going to be the washer and the dryer. So we don't need a lot of room in here. So I'd like to just push this back and open up this entrance here a little bit. While I'm doing that, I would like to put up some support here just to limit the unsupported span up on the deck. Besides those two modifications, I don't think we're going to make a lot of changes to the forward cabin. Not because we don't have any ideas, but simply just because I think I'm going to be out of time. I haven't mentioned this to Ava yet, but I've been playing around with the idea of the two of us remodeling the forward cabin after we've moved aboard. That would also provide some DIY content while cruising, which I think would be good. I'll pop this forward cabin task on the to-do list, but I'm not entirely sure of the scope of that one yet, but we'll find out. I'm sure next winter is going to be spent finishing the interior because there's going to be a ton of minor jobs that I still have on my list at that point. That could be stuff like insulating the hull, putting up the wooden slats that's going to go on the hull. There's going to be a lot of painting in here, varnishing, rewiring all of the stuff I didn't get to this year. There's also going to be finishing the galley and the head. There's going to be a lot in this task, but let's put them on here. There is tons of work to take care of here, and this is not the complete list before we're ready to untie the lines. The definition of done here aboard Athena might very well end up being the date we need to leave, meaning it's not going to be a certain standard here inside of the boat, but rather a mad dash towards the finish line, seeing how much stuff I can actually get done. But yeah, now you guys have an idea of what I'm going to be working on in 2020. Let's head up to the workshop and check on the door frame for the head. You might recall in last weekend's video I made this, which is going to hopefully turn into the aforementioned door frame. What I've been the most excited to do is to take off all of the clamps on this curved top bit here to see how much spring back I'm going to get. So let's do that. Okay, when I loosen this, we might see this move a little bit. How much is the exciting bit? So there was indeed a little bit of spring back here. I'd say there's probably around 5 millimeters on each side. The exact shape of this guy is not really that important. I just wanted him to have a little bit of a curve to make him look nicer, and he's certainly got that. So the fact that there was some spring back doesn't really matter. It was just kind of cool to see. And this is more or less what the door frame is going to look like. Of course, this is going to get cut so that it sits nice and flush against the top. I might take a little bit off the thickness of these, but yeah, this is the general look I'm going for. Oh yeah, and of course this is also way too tall right now. I wish I had that much headroom aboard Athena, but this is gonna have to come down a good bit. But all of those modifications, I'm gonna do those when I can drag this thing aboard Athena, just to make sure that the proportions look correct. But all of that is gonna have to wait until, well, next year, I guess. And seeing as I won't see you guys again before Christmas, I do have a video, a New Year's video that's gonna come out between Christmas and New Year's. But seeing as I'm not gonna see you before Christmas, I just wanna say happy holidays, Merry Christmas, or whatever floats your boat. I hope all of you guys have a super awesome time. Before ending this video, I just want to show you guys something cool real quick. Look at all this beautiful blue stuff. This is the charger inverter. It is both a charger and an inverter rolled into one, and there's a little battery monitor here and a Bluetooth module. All of this you guys should see hooked up in the not too distant future. And on that little teaser, I am out of here to spend what I am sure will be an amazing month with Ava. So that is going to be it for this video. As always, feel free to leave a comment down below, and don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like. See you!